I don't know if I want to mention this other client. Maybe I should just for credibility boost, but
It's up to you.
Can be polarizing. So you know how Trump did an NFT drop
just recently? Yep.
Well, we designed that website.
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm Joe Fier, and welcome to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. This is where we talk all about building businesses so they give you the freedom and fuel for your life. I'm not here to help you build $1 billion business, but I am here to help you create a business with systems that work for you so you can make more money than you need just by working part-time. You know, I was a chronic hustle mode kind of guy, and I want to share my experiences and mentors I've met along the way to help you reframe things to be the most effective as an entrepreneur. I wish I had this guidance and insight when I was younger, so that's what I'm doing here for you. Please share and enjoy. Hey, it's Joe Fier, and this episode is with my friend and owner of Studio1Design.com, Greg Merrilees. And this guy, he's been on the podcast before and broke down all these different design principles for your website. They are timeless, so definitely go back. I'll link that in the show notes. And in this episode, he does like a nice recap of how he got to where he is now. We go into some new design principles, his thoughts around AI and how to use that in design and copy and all this other stuff that's happening, and why your presence is everything online. It is the reason why people find you. It's the social proof. It's the authority, the trust, the values that you display to the world. You can have that within your control. So Greg is a master at this with the design, but all the way into marketing principles, copywriting, and just knowing the landscape in general. And then we get into some of the inner workings of his mind. And when it comes to running his business, scaling his business to a healthy 7-figure business, but also working part-time, about 20 hours a week, and how he can travel around skiing and driving his fast car on racetracks and all these other fun things with his family. And the mental game that goes behind all of that. That's really what this show is all about now, is discovering the entrepreneur behind the entrepreneur and how you can take some healthy habits and apply them to your own business and life so you're actually getting fulfilled and you're getting enough from your business. So let's break it down now with Greg. This guy's awesome. So let's get into it. All right. Well, Greg, hey, we're back. This is round 2. It's been a while since you've been on the show. This is a new version, of course. How you been,
man? And I'm excited about this new version. And since we're on the last episode, we actually met up in person for the first time in San Diego, which was super
Thank you.
cool.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting. And I mean, I've learned that's what you do, right? You bring people together really well in these little gatherings.
Yeah, I think it's really important in business to, obviously it's an online world these days, and most of our clients are all around the world and probably 50% more in the US. And so obviously before COVID, we were traveling to the US for every major event, basically, just to connect with clients and build those relationships, and just put your name out there. And spoke a couple of times over there as well, once for Ezra Firestone at his event. And that was the only time I spoke over there, but another time for Shramco here. But the point is, like, it's all about building relationships in business, and it's a long game as well, so I just like to plant the seed with new people all the time and just let people know we exist.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what I love about your approach and your journey. I mean, you've been at this thing for 23 years. That's what LinkedIn says, at least. I don't know if it's probably way longer than that.
It's actually 2 years longer, but we had a brand name change.
See?
But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And that's where I know, like, you've just done it in a way that I've done some similar approaches where you give so much initially right off the bat. Yeah. And I know James Shramko, our mutual friend, and I'm sure you're listening. Hey, James, thank you very much for everything. For both of us. But like giving logos away and, doing designs. You've done that for us as well. For, Matt and I, when we had this show together in our brand, and I have my hoodie still. I wear it all the time. It's in the closet right now. And that's from you. And I know that's opened so many doors for you along the way.
It has indeed, because that was sort of my background, t-shirt design, and it was sort of the only skill set I had when we pivoted to website and branding. And I think it started sending Shramko a logo for his podcast because they said they sucked, and then they ended up using ours, and then it just sort of snowballed into designing for them and all their clients, and the rest is history. But it was just all about, and I guess that's a lesson for the people listening, is try not to just give away a standard PDF. If you're in a service business and you want to build relationships with partners and things like that, think about, who else has your same customer, and they may be before they come to you or after they come to you. Try and work out some relationship with those type of partners. But if to do that, don't just lead with here's a free ebook. Lead with something that's unique to your skill set that they're going to be wowed about, and that's kind of what we did with the t-shirt design. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's world-class design too. And I'm not just blowing smoke, because like you check out studio1designs.com/Joe if you want to use that URL. I mean, you're designing the new version of hustleandflowchart.com, which may or may not be live at the time of this recording, but either way, it's there very soon. And it's blown me away. It's a design we've been working on for a while now, I know. But you've done this with so many other podcasters, internet marketers, other businesses. But then also I was like looking back, and I didn't know this, but like Warner Brothers, Disney, Looney Tunes I saw. I was like, what? I grew up on these guys. Yeah. So it's amazing like what you've done. And yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I mean, and that all stemmed from just, doing t-shirt designs and like realistically, I'm not even educated. Like I left school at 16, right? And I did that for a 2-week work experience at a screen printing factory, and I got to draw Looney Tunes characters, right? That was back in the day when you could, before everything was super licensed and only, style guides could create those characters. But I just love drawing. And so, from that, we just designed t-shirts for all these different brands, Disney, Warner Brothers, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was a bit of a favorite back in the day. Yeah. And that just led to other, like building relationships with other manufacturers that held the same licenses, like for consumer products and point of sale and things like that. And we went into all the major retailers stores in Australia, but a couple in the US as well, like Walmart and Costco and Target over there as well. And it's just incredible how these things just from one skill set can lead to all these opportunities. And I think it also, doing that t-shirt design for you guys and all these, it's just sticking to what you know best. And I find that if people try to pivot too much in business, and we have had a pivot, we can talk about that, but really we had to pivot, right? But I find that if you just stick to what you're really, really good at and don't try and offer everything to everyone, it can go a lot further. Like we do website design and branding now. We used to do t-shirts, but we don't offer SEO. We don't offer, Facebook ads or marketing or all that stuff. We just stick to the design aspect. We don't even mind if our customers or clients go to other developers to get their website built. We just love the design aspect, so we just stick to the design and what we're really good at.
I think it's brilliant, man. And I know I've been guilty over the years of switching far too many times. Maybe it's a shiny object or it's just my interest. Maybe I wrap too much into the business. And has it always been that way for you, where you've been so focused, or have there been some of these derailments?
There was definitely, look, think crypto, that's a bit of a derail, right? So,
totally.
But at the same time, I still believe in it. I still believe that, there's a good purpose for crypto in the future, and the whole Web3 space. There's so many, good aspects to that. It's just the market's imploded, temporarily, but that'll come back. But that was a bit of a derailment, just focusing on that. And we have designed like a website offer to cater to that market. But, we've just kind of put that on ice for now. But the point is, I would say, apart from just being derailed, like we got squeezed out of the marketplace when we were doing t-shirts 12 years into the business. When our clients were wholesalers, they got squeezed out by their clients who were the retailers. They went vertical, and all of a sudden they didn't need their wholesalers, and we designed for the wholesalers. So we kind of had no work, so it was a big pivotal moment at that point. And that's when I found podcasts and did the logo design for James. And that's kind of what led to this now. Yeah.
Yeah. And you bring up a great point. And I love this point right here, because I think about it often, and I know I've been, like I mentioned, guilty of it, but there are times where you need to pivot your business because of market conditions, your partner, whatever it might be. In crypto, it literally is the market conditions, and it's done that for a lot of folks. But at the same time, it's like doing the work that is just working. Like, and it could be boring as hell, that work, and it might not light you up, but there's ways to that, hey, if something's working, maybe I just double down, triple down, keep my head down. And so I'm curious of like, are there any ways that you've kept so focused over the years in the design space, this agency that you've had, where that you can maybe give some practical things?
Yeah, I think it is just sticking to what we love. And also, I did hire James Schramko as my business coach back in the day, and he's still my coach today.
He
We're talking
helps.
8 years later. Exactly. So he keeps you on track. If I do have these other ideas and blah, blah, all these ideas that kind of could potentially derail me, having a good business coach that's very matter of fact and very direct just says, no, I don't think that's going to work, So it's up to me to make the decision, but I like to listen to experts that have been there, done that, and grown significant businesses. At one point, I think he had 90 people on his team, but
Yeah.
and now he's down to 6, and he's got a 7-figure business, and he surfs twice a day, and that's the type of coach that I want on my side, and I listen to that type of person. So yeah, look, I tend to not get too distracted, apart from things like crypto because it's exciting.
Yeah.
But really, that's kind of the next stage of life anyway, where you go from a solo employer to a business owner to building a team to then becoming an investor, and that's kind of the stage where I'm at now. But yeah, I found just on that journey, there's little things that would tease me to be derailed, but I do find that staying on track and what we're good at has been the best path for me.
Totally agree. Hey, I'm going to pause this chat really fast with Greg and I and shout out something that he put together just for you, and also to let you know that he and his team at Studio One Design are the team that designed and built my website over at hustleandflowchart.com. I absolutely love it, and I've been getting a lot of feedback and people reaching out about who the heck did that for me. Well, that's Studio One Design. They did it. It's Greg. It's the guy you're listening to right now. So everything is super professional. They basically read my brain on how to even design this thing. I gave them some vision, and then they just ran from there. Such a great team that Greg has put together, and they just execute like crazy. So right now, if you are looking to improve stuff that you're doing on your own website, or if you have something new coming up, you should go start off by taking their free quiz. They're actually giving away some bonuses as well for people who take this quiz. Go check it out at studioOneDesign.com/Joe. That is studio, the number one, design.com/Joe. Complete that quiz. It's 7 different phases in this quiz, and it's going to give you so many results on how to improve what you're doing over there on your website right now, from design all the way to optimizing conversion. So go take that quiz totally free at studioOneDesign.com/Joe. All right, back to the episode. I want to get into, so with this episode, like I was talking about, so you have your business and it's definitely pivoted over the years, and I'll probably dig into that a little bit further, but I really want to get into, since you are such a design eye, I mean, you've drawn so many things. I know you used to airbrush a bunch of stuff for folks. And so you say design is everywhere and there's trends and there's all these things happening.
Yeah.
What do you like? Do you distill that into things that you can use on websites? And
yes,
I'm curious of some of these trends that you're noticing and things that we can share with others here that apply.
Yeah, totally. So look, my wife's a fashion designer by trade, right? So she used to, before she's now in our business, she's our brand director. But before she did that, she would travel the world 4 times a year, go to trade shows and, shopping centers and pretty much walks and just collect a whole heap of samples and bring it back and create ranges for our market, which is a slightly different market to everywhere else. But the beauty of being in Australia is that we're 6 months behind the rest of the world when it comes to fashion. So we just borrow ideas and then range around that. So the point is, she was really good at ranging and doing color and composition and putting things together from collecting a whole bunch of ideas, out there. But that was back in the day. Now you've got Pinterest, you've got, a whole range of ideas and design reference out there. There's awards, which is like a website design award platform, right? And so from all of these, Karen now is, she does this and she teaches our other designers how to do this as well. But what she does is collects all those ideas and then we put it into a mood board. And the mood board has a multiple page PDF where we talk about the colors, the fonts, and pretty much every design aspect, the images, the image treatment, the backgrounds, just the composition of the elements and things like that. And so then what we do is put that forward to clients as here's our idea for the brand moving forward. And then we send a walkthrough video, explain why we've done what we've done. It's all based on the brief, which is a very detailed process, as you know,
yeah,
with that pain in the ass questionnaire.
Super helpful too.
Yeah. And so then the mood board, once the client signs off with that then we'll turn it into the actual website design. But realistically, the trends come from, it depends on the actual, the brief and the business that we're designing for. We always look at competitors and make sure we don't want to be anything like their competitors. We want to zig where they're zagging. And we want to use a color palette as well that's completely unique to their business. So having Karen's fashion background has really helped her identify what is the latest trend, the latest look. So every time she's designing a new mood board for, for a website, then, or a brand in general for our clients, then she just starts fresh and looks for the latest trends. So the trends are really just visual. As far as, trends in website design over the years, I think it's come to a point now where the design aspect can be whatever you like. It can be completely custom. Websites are fast enough now, and hosting and internet on phones and all that sort of thing is fast enough to just design anything. And I guess the only trend that we haven't tapped into yet, but I'm sort of super excited about, some designers and copywriters see it as a threat, and that's AI, right? Like, yeah.
That's the next thing in my mind, my man.
Oh, there you go.
You just read it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go deeper,
Exactly.
please. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the way I see it is like, and I will be writing a blog post on this shortly because I find it absolutely fascinating. And there's the GPT-3 at the moment, which is pretty smart, right? It's pretty incredible and impressive.
The chat GPT. Yeah.
Exactly. Totally. But there's still limitations when it comes to design, right? And, I've studied a lot of YouTube videos as well to figure out how good is this AI. And the way I see it is it's really good for coders of, design, coding websites. The design aspect, yes, it can get ideas from here, there, and everywhere, but it's really only doing a copy of, and I think like websites that are out there, apparently GPT-4 is going to be able to say, you'll be able to say, hey, go to this website. I want a website like that, but for my industry, and give it some bit more, criteria, and it'll just design and build it for you. But I don't know how true that is, but if that happens, then we're going to use that as a tool in our business as a starting point, but then still customize it to be unique to bring our design aspect into what we offer to our clients. But yeah, I see it as
I love that.
Not a threat, but a tool. Yeah.
It's a tool. And that's exactly, I assumed you would see it that way. And I was going to pose the question about AI and all these, just over the last month or so at the time of this recording, they've just been so many different tools have been released around AI from, design, audio, video, text, written, copywriting. And it got me thinking about you immediately, actually, because of so much of the custom work you guys do at Studio One Designs. And at the same time, it's not just designs, though. You marry that, you pair it up with marketing and principles.
Yes.
I see you have Ogilvy's book behind you on the bookshelf. He's a master at advertising and copywriting. So, you have these principles that are in the structure, the bones of the website. Yeah. And, it's apparent in the brief when I went through that whole multi-page thing with Matt originally. Like, what are some of the principles of design and things that you incorporate in your sites? And I know landing pages offer this part too. I'm curious of what you got there.
Yeah, well, the way we design websites is we're very influenced from books like, Robert Cialdini's Influence, for instance, right, which is the principles of persuasion. And so we put that into the website. But there's also another book, Spin Selling, which is by Neil Rackham, which is really a framework for copywriting, but it's also, we kind of merge that with with influence. And what we find is that we're using psychological drivers from everything from, social proof, authority boosting elements to things like scarcity. Now, people think scarcity is like a limited amount of seats or limited time or whatever. Sure, that's part of it. But the way Robert Cialdini, referenced that in his book is what is scarce about your offer that they can't really get anywhere else, right? So that's the uniqueness that we try to get across, obviously in the design, but also, and we don't offer copywriting, but we work with copywriting partners that, have the same framework that we follow. And so, if you think about what's what's unique about your business, if you can get that on your homepage at least, and all of your sales copy and all of your, lead magnets to your overall messaging as a whole, and then that's what you become known for, then that can work really well. And, to me, that's something that's going to help you stand out from your competitors. So and part of it, and with our process, is we do have this, questionnaire, which has 40 odd questions. And the reason it's so detailed is because we want to know as much as we can to draw out your uniqueness. And, even the look and feel, like let's say the website that we've just designed for you, the look and feel doesn't look like any other podcast website out there. Yeah. And it's really unique to your personality and what we drew out from just knowing you guys. You're fun loving guys that, and now it's just going to be you. But the point is, it's, incredible, that we've sort of created this look and feel that represents you, your brand, even your locations kind of thrown in there as well with, San Diego and palm trees. So that's what we try to do with uniqueness. And then the copywriting as well, we want to let people know, what's in it for them. They don't really give a shit about you initially. And so we just marry, the copy and the design as one with all those psychological drivers. And social proof's a huge factor of that as well. So, obviously, that could be testimonials, it could be reviews of a podcast or whatever. Or even just, if like for you guys, you've got some real super authorities that you've interviewed, right? Like, to me, that's the type of thing that we want to showcase and let people know, oh, wow, this podcast is the real deal. These guys interview the best out there. So it's all those things that we put into the website design. And sales pages is kind of, it's that, but it's we want to just have one focus of a sales page, one call to action. We remove all distractions. There's a lot of leakage points that we see when we go to people's websites or landing pages where they'll have a top navigation or a footer navigation. We want to remove all that stuff so that people don't pogo stick around the entire website. Even videos on web pages, they might have a YouTube video embedded on a page and people go click on the logo, they go to YouTube and they never come back, right? So we just
all the time.
So we recommend using Wistia or Vimeo for, embedding videos on your sales pages. But all these things, we do go into a little bit more detail on sales pages and, using spin selling, but, why choose us and all these other sections that are just going to help tell the story and keep people on that one page and give them that one thing to do.
Yeah. And you have the principles down. And we've had Cialdini on the show here and talking about all of his principles, and you nail them. And you mentioned the questionnaire. Like when seeing it at first, it's daunting, but at the same time, oh my God, like that's exactly why how you can create that kind of thing, all the way from the mood board design, but all the way to understanding what the actual business is, what the motivators are, the different social proof factors that can be put into there. Borrowed authority, like in the fact of this website that I have, but like we in terms of all the collaboration of, Matt, but yourself and all these guests that have come on. And it's just, I feel like, and I think you mentioned it on Shramko's podcast, is having this presence and being able to actually, like this online presence and being able to control it. And if you don't have that as an entrepreneur, and that's where like I didn't have my own presence for a long time. I had joefier.com and all this stuff. But when you Google someone's name, you want to be able to actually have presence on there and have a say for the narrative that people are going to understand you by, because anyone could be looking you up, especially when you become a little bit more public. So I feel that presence is key. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Spot on. And then we've talked about so far is like the design and the copy and all the psychological drivers, but then there's also the strategy behind it as well. Like we like to understand what is the purpose of the website. For instance, like with you guys, I mean, sure, you've got a podcast course and all that, but really, your goal's a bit different because it's a podcast and, you want to like, I guess if you build an audience with that, you can take it anywhere, right? And that's kind of one of your number one goals is to build that audience. And, for other people, it might be to, sell e-commerce products or to whatever, but we still like to take the approach of warming up the cold traffic first. So, and the way we do that, one of the best ways is to educate, which is what you guys do, right? With your podcast. And it's just
Right.
building so much trust in your brand. And yeah, if, a lot of businesses out there that they just try to sell off the bat, I feel like that's the wrong way. I call that selling on hello. And
Mm.
instead, if you respect your audience and just deliver value and build trust in your brand first, then the rest can follow later. It's usually a slower process, but it's more longevity in the business model if you build that audience first. That's the way I see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can take that audience with you. With
Yeah.
wherever you end up in business. Hopefully, not too many pivots along the way. But yeah, having that connection, that trust with the folks that come for you, and that's really what you
Exactly.
want. And Greg, I wanna like kind of pivot a little bit to what is happening. So the design stuff, we've covered a lot of that, and on the business front. And I want to dive into. I was kind of mentioning to you with this evolution of hustle and flowchart, and you've been such a big help in that. We were chatting about this a couple weeks ago too, is like
Yeah.
showing business owners like, cool, you have all these things. Yeah, you got to get a website, get something, messaging right, your presence, know your business, and maybe not pivot too much, but really hone in on your skill sets, your love. But it's like there's an element outside of business of, all right, so when is like, what are you fueled by? Maybe there is a passion outside of business. Ideally, there's something else outside of just the business
Yeah.
itself that's fueling you or motivating you. And also this question of like, when is it enough? Like to do all this
Yeah.
building, grinding, maybe hustle mode. So I'm kind of curious if, or like, what is that outside of the business for you? Is there something that stands out that is your
Yeah.
driver?
Totally. I do a lot of things outside of business, but one of them is family, happily married with a 16-year-old daughter, and we love to travel. Now, COVID kind of put a stop to that. Like we live in Melbourne and it's the world's most locked down city, which is ridiculous. Like we had
Yeah.
throughout that 2-year period, 250 odd days of lockdown, which was just hell, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, before that, we're traveling, to New Zealand, like we're a snow skiing family. So we were at Canada just before the lockdown, and that was our passion. And then all of a sudden, we couldn't do that anymore. And then throughout COVID, I kind of just went into a bit of a hole, and because we couldn't do anything, it was really quite depressing, to be honest. Although we coped well, and business did really, really well because of the fact that everybody wanted to get online or improve their online, but I was losing my passion, my interest.
Mm.
And I spoke to a couple of brokers and thought, I just want to sell this business. I've just lost the passion. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a big moment where I didn't do anything on social, and I'm just starting to get back onto it now. And I just completely withdrew from the business. And so after speaking to the brokers, they valued the business, and it was quite an impressive number, and it was quite appealing. And I thought, well, should I do it? Shouldn't do it? And I couldn't quite make the decision. And then it was like, I don't know, probably 6 months ago when I finally decided that I don't really want to sell the business. I do love the business. I was just probably working too much and just because I couldn't escape being locked down. It was all I could do. It's all I could spend my time on. I didn't have anything else. But yeah, since we came out of the lockdown, I'm doing more things like, we traveled again this year. We went to New Zealand. We went to, I went to the US and met you guys, did a couple of events there and all that. We'd obviously just had a week up at Queensland, a couple of states away from where we live. And so we're traveling again. And so I've got that mojo back, and I don't want to sell the business, it's now I just want to, I don't want to grow it. And you asked the question, how much isn't enough? I don't want to grow it to like a $10 million business. It is a comfortable 7-figure business, but I feel like that is enough. And now I've got an awesome, I had a personal assistant that upgraded. We went to our Christmas party last year, and she got drunk. We were all having a few drinks, which was awesome fun. And she
Yeah.
upgraded herself to general manager, right? And she has just been like the best general manager. Like she's doing all the things that I don't want to do, and her name's Sally. Shout out to Sally. She's just awesome. Yeah. And so now I'm actually working 20 to 25 hours per week. I've got my mojo back. I don't want to grow the business much, but at the same time, we are earning more than we did each year, it's by about 10%, which is very slow, steady growth, but I'll still take that,
Oh yeah.
if I'm working less. If I was working more, it would be a problem. So now I just want to steadily grow the business. How much is enough? I would say, if I did another 5 years of 10% growth, then I'd probably sell at that point. And, I'm 51 years old now. So that's another, 5 years and I'll be close to retirement age anyway. So then I'll
Yeah,
be
man.
more into, hopefully my investments are doing really well by then. And, we'll see what happens. Probably sell the business then.
There you go. Oh, I love it, man. And so you've created time freedom for yourself, but also more revenue for the business
Yeah.
via a general manager. Do you think you
Yep.
could have done that earlier, or did you have versions of that leading up to this? Now you're 23 years into this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not at all. Like I think it's just been like since I've hired, James Franco as my coach, we've had growth year on year, not, without fail, but at the same time, and he taught me how to grow a team. And, we've got like 28 people in the team currently and how to put systems in place and how to have marketing and do all these things, right? Which
yeah,
has been fantastic. But yeah, the key thing that has been the biggest change has been having that personal assistant. She was essentially hired as an executive assistant, just dealing with me only. But then she just did such a good job. And then, she self-promoted to general manager, which I love.
I love that
But
approach
now
too.
that now that she's doing absolutely everything, like that's been the biggest game changer. I didn't actually see that coming, that it would be such a game changer. But yeah, I think that's been the critical, shift in, being able to earn more and work less, which is the name of Shramko's book.
It's
Work
a great
Less, Make
book.
More, right?
Yeah, go get the book. Go
Yeah.
get the book.
Yeah, and
Because
I
it's
hadn't really thought, just things like speaking to James and whatever, and saying, look at increasing your prices. And when I was doing all of the calls and the proposals and all that, I didn't really have the courage to increase our prices a lot. Sally's like, I'm just doing it, right? So
it's like
and she
that
just
third
does it.
party. You need to have
Yeah.
someone else to voice what is really in you and probably what you voice to her. But it's like she's just
Yep.
going to do it for you.
That's right, exactly, without hesitation. And so that has been really good. I mean, we have still had to grow our team and take on more business, but at the same time, we are increasing our prices. It's not a
Yeah.
lot, but it's just enough to make it, a little bit more cream on the cake type of thing.
Right. Well, I think this
Yeah.
this is a big thing and why I ask you what is enough. And, for some people, it
Yeah.
might be a money thing or it might be a time thing or whatever, passion,
Yeah.
fulfillment, and, family. And I know family's huge for you as well as
Yeah.
myself. But it really, at the end of the day, it's the burnout, because if there's a burnout
Yeah.
part or you're completely checked out, then everything else is going to start degrading. I mean, and you have team and clients and reputation, momentum of it's a real thing in business. And because I've done this too, is step away or go silent for a while. And it's so tough to like get the gears in motion again and really
Exactly.
get that. Yeah. So what you're saying is
totally, man.
it's a great tool.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And it is those motivators like family and travel and, got a few other hobbies as well. Like for instance, my wife, she had the same struggle as me throughout COVID, right? And then she had a gut health issue and she decided to get that looked at, and it led to all this like working on her health and fitness and all that. And it was like a 2-year journey. And in that 2 years, she just completely transformed her health and her body shape and composition and all that. And she did it through strength training, right? Which is incredible, like 3 times a week. And, we were in lockdown, and at that time, our local gyms were closed, and she had to do the strength training in the car park of the local gym.
Did they move all the
which is
equipment
incredible.
outside and everything?
Yes, they did.
Yep.
Yeah,
They did that
And
here for a
if it
while. It
was-
was goofy, but hey, got to do it.
yeah. And it was pissing down with rain, and she would still go to these sessions, 3 times a week. And anyway, it was incredible. And so 2 years later, as of July last year, if this comes out in January, then she did this competition for, a fitness model bodybuilding type of competition. And that was her goal, just to get to that stage, and present on stage. And she did that. And she, she didn't win or anything, but she got placed, I think it was 3rd or 4th in a couple of the different categories. And that was just incredibly inspirational for me. And so then now I've started doing that as well, a little bit of strength training, and haven't been doing it for long, but it's so hard. But, I think about, I want to ski until I'm 80 or 90 or whatever. I just want to ski forever. And to do that, you need to look after your body and your strength and things like that. So, and your health. So that's, a bit of a passion of mine. And so it's just, healthy lifestyle. I used to drink nearly, red wine or beer nearly every night. And since I've been doing this over the it's been 4 or 5 months now, but I might have a drink or two on the weekend and that's it. So just I feel better. And yeah, that's a good driver.
I share that thing with you with the lack of drinking, because my wife and I never heavy drinkers or anything, but it might be wine every night or whatever, a beer. Yeah. I mean, honestly, cutting beer out has been massive for me, and just honestly my clarity. Yeah.
Yeah, and clarity.
For sure, man. Yeah. And then the red wine, like I love it. I actually default to that more, but still it's a couple a week. But
awesome.
Yeah, man. I think it's like you just kind of shed weight without trying.
Yeah.
And that was never the intention, but yeah, for me it was mental state. And it sounds like you're there.
Totally. Yeah. Such a huge benefit. And it was like I didn't even see that coming. I just didn't feel like drinking,
Right.
Because you just feel so healthy during the day. And yeah, it's just,
that's
if
cool.
you do have a drink, you feel shit the next day. It's like, it's not worth it.
Well, you know what you're getting into at least, right? Like, you're like, well, I'm paying for this tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. For sure, man.
And I want to ask you about like mental state and ways to keep your mind primed and ready for action, whatever that looks like. And I want to get like, are there practices or tools or routines that you are more or less like disciplined with in your life that keep you tip-top shape when it comes to being an entrepreneur and also person outside of business?
I think it's just consistency. Like as far as like I've been in business so long, it's just a habit, right? So, but I do wake up and I like to sleep. I like sleep for me. I get 9 hours of sleep every night, solid sleep. As soon as I hit the pillow, I'm asleep, right? So, and it's even better that since I've stopped drinking, right? So that's amazing. Yeah. And so that's definitely number one. And then in the morning, I like to walk my dog, get up and have healthy breakfast and like an egg omelet with veggies. And then I go for a walk and I walk the dog and, I just love that. You just feel refreshed before you touch it. I don't even look at emails, what I mean? I just, and then I come back and by then, if it's like 9 a.m., I take my daughter to school for whatever, come back by like 9 a.m. and then Sally's already handled all of my emails because she handles my inbox, so.
Epic. That's so good.
And that's kind of all I do for habits, but as far as, mindset in general, like I've always been quite positive and happy. My wife hates me for that. Sometimes I'm too happy,
You and I both, my friend.
Yeah, right.
We'll get flack for it, but don't ever change.
Exactly. So I've never really had a problem with being motivated. Don't get me wrong. I've had times in life that, like I said, the COVID was really, really tough mentally to get through that. But generally speaking, most days, most weeks, most months, I'm quite motivated. And I just have that little routine and it just sets me up for the day.
Awesome. And I love the fact that it's such a tiny routine. Like, and obviously it could be, you hear morning routines or whatever. And that wasn't what I was asking, but it's like, that's what works for you in the mental state. If some people could drag it on for hours or try to overcomplicate it, but it's like, just get some sleep, which has been a game changer for me. Wearing an iWatch or Apple Watch has actually helped me kind of stick with it. There you go. I have mine off right now, but that little reminder and tracking, I'm just like, oh, I'm ramping up my sleep and I feel the difference.
Totally.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How good is the Apple Watch, really? I mean, for even tracking steps and things like that, because then you've got like a benchmark and you just want to beat that all the time.
There you go. It's the competitiveness in us, right? As entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. That's exactly
Very much so.
Yeah.
But I know I'm super competitive as well, like, I mean, I've got a reasonably fast kind of, race car type of thing.
Do you? Tell me.
Yeah. So, well, it's my everyday car, but it's so fast. Like it's the world's fastest 4-cylinder twin turbo car. It's it's an AMG thing that's just nuts, right?
Mercedes.
But it's so quick that I just get worried about, getting booked, like getting fines for going too fast. So I have to do these racetrack days where I take it around the racetrack for a couple of hours, just to get that out of my system. And I absolutely love that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So good.
Is that I've done a track session once in Las Vegas. It was in an Aston Martin. My wife surprised me for my birthday and did it with me. And well, she didn't do it. She was scared shitless. But I was the one, and I probably took it out. Like I drove it slow. Let's be honest, compared to like what you would do. But like what's the deal? Are you out there often? That's like a stress reliever, I would assume, right?
Yeah,
It's just going ham.
I just been doing it this year, so not that often, but I love it, and it's something that I'm trying to book in like every couple of months moving forward because it's just so much fun. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know, like I mean, I love Formula One as well. Speaking of Aston Martin, I think
Right.
that's it's certainly a passion of mine. I'd love to travel the world doing a few of those. Obviously, they're coming to Vegas next year, which I think would
There you
be
go.
amazing to see.
They have a lot. They at least have one out there that's great, but probably more. Vegas is crazy like that. But yeah, good to
Yeah,
there.
totally. I don't know. There's something about speed, like my first car was a sports car at like, when I was 18 or whatever. And my nickname was Rocket because I used to drive crazy. So
Okay. So you get it out on the track, take all the
exactly. And then I don't, I'm not a threat to anybody.
That's fair, man. But I mean, I think that's a prime example, a perfect example of getting that adrenaline out or that whatever that release, and it's something out of business. That's why I'm on the hunt for in this show too, chatting with folks and just reflecting on is like, all right, some outlet. Like there's always got to be an outlet.
Yeah.
And I feel like that helps us stay on the course in business and keeps us even keel in life, just like happy and present with people around us too.
Yes. Couldn't agree more, man. And then if you got all these things outside of work, you really enjoy business a lot more.
Damn right. Yeah. And everything grows. People, are supported because of it too. So
yeah,
Greg,
totally, man. Yeah.
I think, I'm stoked on this chat, and I'm happy that you're one of the first guests that I'm bringing back in on the Hustle and Flowchart podcast in this new version or whatever we want to call this thing. Let's shout out Studio One Design one more time. StudioOneDesign.com/Joe will get you there. But I guess give a quick like 30-second or so, and we chatted about it, but like what people should expect or what they should do now.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah. Look, I mean, we've designed for some pretty impressive, people out there. We designed for Sylvester Stallone for his NFT drop, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
I don't know if I want to mention this other client. Maybe I should just for credibility boost, but
it's up to you.
It can be polarizing. So you know how Trump did an NFT drop
just recently? Yep.
Well, we designed that website.
No kidding.
Exactly. No, I'm serious.
I think it's brilliant, and it's great that I mean, it's polarizing, but that's perfect. Holy crap.
Yeah, totally. So I guess if somebody reaches out, and you can check it out, his website, collecttrumpcards.com. But so there's no mention of us on there, of course. We were white labeled through his marketing agency to design that. And they did say that it's not affiliated to his political position at all. So it was just for a little collection, of trading cards, which is really NFTs. But he calls them digital trading cards. But the point is, if somebody does want to reach out, at least they know they're in safe hands. Okay, we're designed for Trump, whether they love it or hate it, but we've also designed
polarizing. It's all good.
Sylvester Stallone, and a whole bunch of other online marketers. We've got a pretty good reputation. So the point is, they're in safe hands, and they can book a 15-minute chat with me or Sally, just to figure out if we're a good fit, and we can take it from there. And they go through our entire process to go through, like I said, we have that website design questionnaire. We jump on a long call. We send them a ballpark quote before we do all this, just to make sure we're in the right range. And then there's no commitment until that point. And then at that point, once we've got the full brief, we send them a full proposal, and then they decide if they want to go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not blowing smoke, Greg. You do the best work out there. And I've been in the game for 15 years or so in the online marketing space. Obviously, everybody needs a website in that space. So, and you've always been the go-to. And of course, shirts and merch is kind of like icing on the cake for me. And I mean, you make it so cool, and you're such a great guy, man. Always been a great supporter of this show and us in general.
Yeah,
so
I love your podcast.
Thank you.
To every episode.
Man. Well, and I'm so stoked that you're always supported by Shramco as well, and vice versa. So James, always a huge shout out. And I know he's been a motivator and mentor for both of us for a long time now. So
totally, man.
Yeah, man. Well, Greg, appreciate you so much, my man. And we'll of course do it again.
Yeah, you bet, man. Thanks so much, Joe. Take care.
Hey, it's Joe. One more time before we sign off, I just want to thank you for listening to the episode in its completion and being with us again. And Greg, I just want to give him another shout out because, again, I'm not blowing smoke. I've said that before. This guy is a stand-up guy. You've noticed it now, and his design abilities and his team at Studio One Design are epic. So if you are in the market for a redesign of your current website, or if you have a new project or brand you're putting out there, we all need to have that presence and leading with the right foot. This is your first impression online. So make sure to go talk with him and talk with his team over at studioOneDesign.com/Joe. That'll get you there, and he'll know that I sent you. And trust me, you're going to be in good hands. So don't look any further. Go to studioOneDesign.com/Joe. All right, till next time, adios. All right, now I'm going to play this outro thing to the podcast and cue that up now. All right. That's what I got for you today. And remember, it's not all about living to work. It's all about working to live, if you need to do the work. But work can be fun, and it should be fueling for your life. So if you enjoyed what you just heard, if you got some nuggets of wisdom that you want to share, or you're just noodling on right now, please go tell others. The way that people find this show and how you can help others get their aha moments is through word of mouth. So if it is telling your friend, telling your family, sending an email to your list, writing a review, or whatever it might be, everything helps. So thank you so much for listening to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast, and I will see you next time.